Shock and grief echoed worldwide after the assassination of US conservative activist Charlie Kirk. Leaders from Israel, Europe, the Americas, and beyond condemned the killing as both a personal tragedy and an attack on democracy. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer called it heartbreaking that a young family has been robbed of a father and a husband, warning there can be no justification for political violence. Nigel Farage in the UK called it a very dark day for American democracy.
We must all be free to debate openly and freely without fear. There can be no justification for political violence.
In Jerusalem, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu described Kirk as a lion-hearted friend of Israel and a great warrior for freedom and faith, recalling their last conversation only 2 weeks before.
Charlie Kirk was murdered for speaking truth and defending freedom. A lion-hearted friend of Israel, he fought the lies and stood tall for Judeo-Christian civilization.
In Moscow, former Russian President Dmitry Medvedev went further, calling Kirk's killing the work of left-wing liberal scum tied to Kyiv, warning, Fico, Kirk, who's next? And he warned MAGA that backing Ukraine means backing murderers.
Political crimes and assassinations have been carried out lately by a variety of left-wing liberal scum who support Banderite Kiev. Fico, Kirk, who's next? Maybe it's time for the MAGA team to realize that by supporting Ukraine, they're supporting murderers.
Italy's Prime Minister, Giorgia Meloni, said she was shocked and called the killing an atrocious murder, a deep wound for democracy.
An atrocious murder, a deep wound for democracy and for those who believe in freedom.
Argentinian President Javier Milei remembered Kirk as a formidable defender of freedom and the West, blaming the left for what he called an atrocious murder.
He was the victim of an atrocious murder in the midst of a wave of left-wing political violence across the entire region. The left is always, at all times and places, a violent phenomenon full of hatred.
Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orbán went further, charging that Kirk's death was the result of an international hate campaign by the progressive liberal left, tying it to past attacks on leaders like Robert Fico and Andrej Babiš.
Charlie Kirk's death is the result of the international hate campaign waged by the progressive liberal left. Plus, we must stop the hatred. We must stop the hate-mongering left.
Canada's Prime Minister, Mark Carney, said he was appalled and warned that every act of political violence threatens democracy.
I am appalled by the murder of Charlie Kirk. There is no justification for political violence, and every act of it threatens democracy.
In New Zealand, Minister of Foreign Affairs Winston Peters called it not just violence, but an assassination, warning that the essence of democracy itself is under threat.
He stood for freedom of speech and especially fought for the right of others to express theirs, even if he disagreed. The essence of democracy is under threat around the world, and we must do everything we can to protect it.
Brazil's Eduardo Bolsonaro said Kirk was another conservative victim of hate and intolerance, praising his mission to mobilize conservative youth and recalling how Kirk once welcomed President Jair Bolsonaro on his program.
I had the honor of accompanying him in his work and know the greatness of his mission, another conservative victim of hate and intolerance.
From heartfelt condolences to fierce accusations. The assassination of Charlie Kirk has sparked a global reckoning, exposing not only grief, but a deeper struggle over democracy, freedom, and the escalating tide of political violence.